What if decluttering wasn't just about tidying spaces, but transforming lives, supporting communities, and creating real change? In this episode, we speak to a Kent business that's doing exactly that. Welcome to the Kent Business Show. I'm your host, Rachael Bryant, where we share the stories behind the businesses powering Kent. And in this episode, I sit down with Alex from Clutter-B-Gone, a fast-growing professional organising and decluttering company, making a meaningful difference across homes, communities and organisations. During this conversation, Alex shares the journey behind Clutter-B-Gone, including how a late autism diagnosis helped her recognise her strengths and build a business focused on organisation, empathy and helping people. What began as supporting individuals has quickly grown into working with councils, housing associations, charities and businesses to help people regain control of their homes and improve their quality of life. We also explore the growth of the business, expanding services and Clutter-B-Gone's commitment to sustainability, from reducing waste and donating reusable items to investing in electric vehicles and giving back to the community. This is a conversation about building a business with purpose, growing through meaningful work and staying focused on making a genuine difference for the people and communities they serve. So whether you're a business owner, someone looking for inspiration, or simply interested in hearing how a Kent business is creating real impact, this episode is packed with insight and inspiration. Let's get into it.
Kent is powered by business, and every business has a story. Join your host, Rachael Bryant, on the Kent Business Show as she meets the businesses powering Kent, sharing their journeys, their experiences, and what they've learned along the way. A real conversation with real people, giving you real inspiration. This is the Kent Business Show, powered by your video team.
So Alex, welcome to the studio. It's so lovely to have you. How are we?
Thank you for having me. Yeah, I'm all good, thank you.
Good. So, we met through the journey of you getting into awards and I've introduced and said you're award winning, but let's start right at the beginning. What got you into this journey and Clutter-B-Gone?
Oh God, this isn't a simple answer, but I've done a career in public services, so I've always had that thing of kind of wanting to help people, and then the other thing I've always wanted to do, almost like a bucket list thing, I guess, is start a company. So that's always been at kind of the back of my mind. But in 2023, I was diagnosed with autism, which is really, really late in life. It's my black and white brain of, well, no, if you're neurodiverse, you get diagnosed at an early age. My brother is ADHD and was diagnosed at 2. So I couldn't really get to grips with it. And I'm ashamed to say it now, but I didn't have a particularly positive reaction to being diagnosed. I thought, well, that's it, career over. Don't know where I'm going to go from here. But something started changing in my brain, I guess, where I thought, well, you know what, there are real strengths and positives that come with neurodiversity, and one of my biggest strengths, probably the biggest strength I've got, is my organisation. My family will describe me as off the scale, managing 900 things at once and never drop a plate, and they just don't know how I do it. And I've always been like it. So I thought, well, do you know what? Okay, I've got autism, but it's not the end of the road. Let's turn it into something positive. I've always wanted to start a business, and I've always had this calling of helping people. So threw all of that into the pot, give it a little mix, and thought, well, what I'll do is I'll start a professional organising and decluttering company. And Clutter-B-Gone was formed. It started at a similar time, June 2023. That's when it was formed, incorporated in November 2023, and here we are 2.5 years, almost 3 years down the line, and still going strong. So that's it in a summary.
That's an amazing summary. So you had news. What do you mind me asking what made you start the journey to finding out that you were autistic then? Because obviously that's what spiralled into this. So.
Yeah, it was a conversation with my manager at work who said to me, she's very high empathy with and she's very switched on with neurodiversity anyway, and she said, you know, has anybody ever suggested you may be autistic? And I was like, no, like really offended. And I said, why do you think I'm autistic? And she said, your organisation is something I've never seen before, and you are like routine, processes, systems driven. And I really had to reflect on that conversation and think, there could be something in this. So I went to get the assessment, fully expecting it to come back with, no, you're not autistic.
You're just really organised.
Just really organised.
Yeah.
So I could go to, well, look, a professional says I'm not. And lo and behold, it come back, you know, that I was autistic, and I thought, oh my God. And I just could not get my head around it for probably the first 3 months, because I just thought, I'm turning 40, this just doesn't happen. But it does happen. It happens all the time, because, you know, like any, you know, a lot of people with autism, they'll research things to the nth degree. So then I went into research mode, started researching about, you know, getting these diagnoses later in life, and actually it does happen.
Yeah.
But you know, it's been a real journey, not just with the company and the learning that goes with that, because I don't come from a business background, but it's been a real journey for me to learn about myself as well with my autism, the strengths, the challenges I've got. And, you know, it's got to the point now where I think to myself, if I didn't have autism, I don't think I would have the company. And so now I wouldn't be without it, because it, you know, people say all the time, oh, neurodiversity is a superpower. And actually I believe that now. It's taken me a while to get there, but I'm there.
Well, you've taken the word out of my mouth, because superpower is what we would call it, and say, like, ultimately, by all these individuals and having these different superpowers is how we have the world today.
Yeah.
It's just whether you've been labelled with your superpower. And again, autism is such a spectrum that you have different superpowers within that as well. So
yeah, and I've built a company based on my strengths of my neurodiversity, and now I advocate for people who have neurodiversity to show that there is no limits to what you can achieve. No. And I am proof of that. So you know, I have such a positive feeling now about having autism. It's part of who I am, but it doesn't define me.
No.
I have challenges with my autism, I do, but I have support around me to help me with that. But I also have these massive benefits and strengths, and I've pumped that into Clutter-B-Gone, and here we are. And
so from an idea, and really from a diagnosis in June 2023, and then in October 2025, multi-award winning.
Yeah, it feels strange to say that, because I still cannot quite believe what's been achieved. I don't come from a business background. I have no business degree. I've never run a business before. Everything has been achieved through, it has been a lot of hard work, a lot of sacrifice with time off. You know, weekends I've had to work, evenings I'm usually on my laptop till 11 at night. And I have sacrificed a lot of time with family, friends, to get the business off the ground. But yeah, it's been again, I talk about these journeys that you go on, but it is a journey when you start a company, because it's a journey of learning that I've also had to go on. Yes, learning about me, but also learning about how to run a company, because you get into the realms of, you know, insurances, VAT, corporation tax. It's a minefield. Yeah. But I love learning. And, you know, I've accrued so much knowledge over the last, you know, 2.5, 3 years nearly. And I've loved every second. Yes, I've had to sacrifice a lot of time with family, friends, but I love it. I love running the company. I'm passionate about what I do, the services that we offer to help people. We're making a difference to people's lives, 100%. And it becomes addictive. It becomes addictive learning how to run the company, but also meeting the people that you do through the company. And it's to say multi-award winning, it sounds strange, but of course it's true.
It is, and deserved so as well, because of
Thank you.
what we've heard. And I say, like, we were at the Business Awards, the Kent Business Awards, so heard snippets of your journey, and ultimately some of that is the turnover that you're doing within the business as well. Things like that businesses, 5, 7, 10 years either haven't got awards or aren't turning over those sorts of numbers, and you've really grown it into something. So an absolute deserved win, and finalists as well. I mean, these things are just as incredible to be taken forward into a finalist at this was the Kent Invicta.
Kent Invicta, yeah. We obviously won two awards at the Kent Business Awards, and then I think a month later went to the Kent Invicta Business Awards, and yeah, we were finalist for Most Promising New Business. So I mean it's lovely to get shortlisted with the amount of companies that are nominated in each of the categories is an achievement in itself.
Yeah.
Especially when we've only been going, it was just about 2 years when we went to these 2 award ceremonies. But obviously we love winning. Who doesn't love to win? And I am very competitive. But yeah, it's an achievement to just reach the shortlists, because I know how many companies apply for each of these awards, and to even be shortlisted is just phenomenal.
So let's get into, what is Clutter-B-Gone? What does it do? Who do you serve?
Clutter-B-Gone is, in simple terms, is a professional organising and decluttering company. We started off serving individual clients, and we still serve individual clients. So, that would be people who maybe suffer with hoarding disorder, or they've had a bit of clutter build up over time. And that's, for the first 6 months, that's what we were doing. We were dealing solely with individual clients. But in January 2024, I have to remember we're in 2026 now, 2024, we had a couple of companies contact us saying, look, we followed you on social media for some time. We love the before and after photos that you do, and we'd love to work with you. One was a charity, one was a housing association. And I thought, this is not anything I'd really considered. Yeah. And actually, the housing associations and councils, they are ideal for us. They have compliance checks they have to deal with in relation to residential properties. Mm-hmm. It's very difficult to do those compliance checks in a property that has an awful lot of stuff, hoarding or clutter. So a company like mine would come along, and we would sort through the property, get it to a level where the compliance checks can be done. They then go in and they can then do their compliance checks. So in January 2024, we brought on board our two first commercial clients and started working with them. The charity is slightly different because they work with people who are carers, maybe don't have time to sort their houses out, because they have other prioritising needs, which is totally understandable. So they have funding available, again, to pay a company like mine to go in and help sort their houses. And it became very evident very quickly that there's a real market for this.
Yes.
So I made the decision to take on a business development manager who's fantastic. She came on board and she had the sole responsibility to grow the company on the commercial side.
Okay.
And that's what she's done. We're currently working with 16, 17 commercial clients now, who we've built relationships with. We work collaboratively with them. They will, there's a need for the service that we offer. They will send us referrals, we will do quotes, book it in, and then go off and do the work that's needed doing for them. But also, not forgetting the client here, the resident that lives in the property, who, a lot of them suffer with hoarding disorder. That's a recognised mental health condition. In my experience, they don't want to live like that. They want the help, which obviously we're happy to do. But, it's not just hoarders. Yes, we've become specialists in hoarding because that's what we predominantly deal with. But there are people who just don't have time to deal with their houses because they've got young kids or whatever, which is fair enough. And yeah, we can help anyone and everyone that needs help in their homes, and that's what that's predominantly what we've been doing over the last 3 years. But what we've also done is we've started adding more services to what we offer. Mm-hmm. So where there's hoarding, there's usually cleaning. Not all the time, but sometimes houses do fall into disrepair.
Yeah.
So we've started offering environmental cleans, deep cleans. From March, we'll be doing biohazard cleans because the staff are getting trained for biohazard.
Wow.
Waste removal, that is absolutely a must if you're dealing with hoarding properties. We do clearances. We do home moving. We do painting and decorating. We've tried to make ourselves a one-stop shop. I say shop, it's obviously a company, for all of kind of the services that people would need in their homes. DIY, anything like that, then people can come to us. You haven't got to have the hoarding service because, the majority of our clients...
haven't got to be a hoarder
you
just
haven't
to
got
have
to be a hoarder. We have a massive client base because initially we started working off with just individual clients.
Yeah, of course.
And they will, we get a lot of repeat clients. Well, you've done my environmental clean. Can you now come and do painting and decorating? And yeah, that's absolutely fine. It's lovely that we have that repeat client base. It goes to show that what we're offering is, one, is needed, but two, that people trust us and respect what we're doing. And it's great to have those relationships with our clients. We get to know them, they get to know us. I have people asking, oh well, I had Rich last time, can I have Rich again? Yeah, of course, but you've got to have to wait a little while. I'll happily wait. So yeah, we offer multiple services now, and hoarding is in the middle because we are working a lot with councils and housing associations. Yeah. And we've just recently started working with pest control companies because they're needing to go in and fumigate properties that are unfortunately infested with bedbugs or rodents or whatever, but quite often the property needs to be prepared because if there's a lot of stuff in there, the fumigation will not work. So we're now starting to work with pest control companies, and we will prep the property and then they will go in the day after we finish to do the fumigation, and the success is much better because the property has been prepared. So yes, hoarding is in the middle of the services we do because that's predominantly what we deal with, but we also offer a range of services for commercial clients and our individual clients. We've never turned a job down, we never would, and we have been to some sites.
I can imagine.
But, I started the company to help people. The people that come to work for the company are as passionate as I am about it. We want to help people, and that's what we commit to.
And it's huge, isn't it? There is trust here from every aspect, really, of where you are. Because ultimately, when, like you say, when you're asking someone to come into your house, mm-hmm. that first step in any circumstance, just opening the door, is huge. But then to say, can you go through my stuff?
Yeah.
And not necessarily even, I suppose, my only knowledge of hoarding really, other than my own minor hoarding things that I have, is from TV shows where, you watch them sort of thing, and you see that there is love and connection with every one of those items in that house, and it's working through all of that. So it's no mean feat. And then for that person to again come back and get in touch and say, oh, you did this for me, can you do this and have that, rather than them have to go through the rigmarole again of finding someone new, it is a huge deal.
It is, and actually I think a lot of people underestimate just how brave it is for people to reach out, even contacting me in the initial instance to say, look, I accept I may need some help, or can you help me with this? It's not natural to have strangers in your home. I wouldn't like it, and I'm asking people to let me and my team into their homes.
Yeah.
So trust is the biggest thing. There has to be a trust between us and the client because we are going through their stuff. A lot, as you've alluded to, a lot of their stuff is sentimental. A lot of their stuff is valuable. We don't come in and just pull out a bin bag and it's all in there and then we're carting bags out. That's not what we do. Before we even go to a project, we will have conversations with the client. We will understand what it is they're looking for, what anxieties they've got, because they will have, and we will do a bespoke plan for every client. If they have anxiety, there is no point me sending a massive team in there. That's going to overwhelm them. We're starting a project next week, and I've had a conversation with that lady this morning. She's very, very apprehensive. The maximum I can send there is 2 people. Because that's the best thing for her. Okay, it'll take longer to do the project because there's less people, but it's what's best for the client. So we do these bespoke plans to put them at ease. We'll have conversations with them before we get there. We'll explain who's coming. It's nice to know who's coming, and they're going to be knocking on your door at 9 o'clock in the morning. I have on my website, I have pictures of all of the team. So people can go in and have a look and say, oh, well, it's Ian coming to me tomorrow. And actually, here's a picture of Ian, and here's a little bit about his background. Little things like that put people at ease.
Yeah.
But my team are taught when they go into a house for the first day is always a little bit stilted. It is, because you're a stranger in someone's home. They're not very comfortable with you. But my team are taught to break the barriers down very quickly, because the quicker they build that rapport and the quicker they build their trust, the easier the process is going to be with that client. And to be honest, usually by lunchtime on the first day, they've got to know my team have got to know them, they're laughing and joking. And, I'm proud to say we've never had to walk away from a job. We've always managed to achieve what needed to be done. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer because the client wants a little bit of time to go through stuff, but that's absolutely appropriate, and we'll never rush anybody. If it's sentimental to them, and they want to tell us their stories, it's lovely to hear.
And the patience of that as well is huge, because, like I say, when you're going through things, most of the time you're going through memories, and actually the reason they've been kept is for reasons of being able to go back through that. And it's so hard. It's like, I remember my parents giving me a box of all my, here's all your certificates from school, here's all your GCSE things, and I was like, oh, this is amazing. It was so lovely to sit and go through. But then I was like, what do I do with this? What can I do? But I also want to then experience it with my kids. So do you also come up with ways and solutions as to how you can keep hold of memories without physically or by reducing?
Yeah. So, where we've been in the business 3 years now, we've become very skilled at coming up with solutions to try and save space. So one example would be, a lot of people have old photo albums, and that's one of the biggest memories is photos. People like to look back on people who maybe are not with us anymore, holidays they've had, whatever. A really good way of saving the space is to put it all on a USB stick. So they've still got the photos, they've still got the memories, but they haven't got physical hard copies. Saves the space, but they've still got the memories. And it's amazing how many people are like, oh, I never thought of that. So that's just one of the ways, that we would encourage people to try and save some space, because at the end of the day, these are their homes. They want to feel comfortable. They want the space to live. But if they still want the memories, we don't want to take them away from them.
No, it's not about that, is it?
It's not.
It's about keeping the memories with a quality of life.
It is, and I've heard some horror stories, and I've had many clients contact me going, oh, I'm nervous about having the declutterers in, because last time I had them in, not us, they came in and they were just bagging stuff up and taking it out, and actually that can cause more psychological damage to somebody. That's not what we do. I'm really proud to say that we're 5-star across the board on Trustpilot, and there is a common theme of the reviews that the clients have posted about our empathy, our sympathy, our compassion, our patience. Those are the qualities that I look for when I'm looking to interview people to come on board. If you're not patient, this probably isn't the role for you. But you've got to have patience, you've got to have communication skills, you've got to be able to build that rapport, build that trust, because if you don't, it's going to be a very stilted process, and you won't put the client at ease, and my staff won't be at ease either. And that is the key, for me, that is the key to the success of the company, is the ability we have to build these relationships quickly to get the work done. Okay, the work has to be done. We know that because, we're being commissioned to go in by housing associations or councils who need to do their compliance checks. But we don't need to go in with a steamroller. There's a way it can be done.
And that's got to be harder as well, because it's very different for me picking up the phone and saying I need help, but to be told by the housing association, we need to come and do this in your house and you have to have this done. Again, there's no control there.
No, there isn't. And I get it to a degree. You know, they've got compliance checks they have to adhere to. And it's wholly appropriate, because actually a lot of the time it's a health and safety risk.
Yes.
And it's coming from a good place. They're trying to protect the client. So I do get it. But on the other side of the coin, you have a resident there who doesn't really want us there, doesn't really understand why we need to come in. And that's why it's really important that we put the work in before we even get there. You know, and I will make those phone calls. I will have the conversations. I explain the process. I'll answer any questions they've got. If they're particularly nervous, and I will have to do this with the client next week, and I'm happy to, but I'll link in with her at the end of every day to check that the process has gone okay. Those little things that we do go a long way with people, because it shows that we care, and we do care. Of course, we're a business. We have to make a profit. Of course, that's business.
Yes.
But me and my team care. We care about the clients. We care about our commercial clients. We want to transform people's properties. You know, there's a massive problem in the UK with hoarding. It's becoming a bigger issue. And I think over the next few years, it's going to come to the foresight of people's minds more and more. And you know, we want to be part of the solution to sorting that problem out.
And you say about, obviously, you're a business and obviously, yes, making profit and stuff, but it very much sounds like, again, still with all that intention to just grow what you offer and how you help. That is your underlying, always, in everything you've spoken about today, is I'm only growing this business bigger to be able to help more.
Yeah, I mean, it is all about helping people. That's the tagline. That's why I set the company up. And it, you know, we've achieved that. We've got a firm footing in the southeast and London. We're expanding now. We're covering right up to Birmingham, right down to Devon. Wow. So you know, I will probably have to recruit organisers across the country, because I keep sending my staff up north, and they're spending a long time away from home. But you know, the aspiration is to grow across the UK, because hoarding is not just a problem in the southeast and London, it is across the UK, and there is a market for it, there is a need. People don't want to live like this. A lot of people out there are struggling, and you know, that is across the UK. So you know, the plan is to grow, recruit, and see where it goes. But it will always come back to, we are here to help people, and that will never change.
Love that. I really want to dive into that next stage of your growth, because again, there's even more helping you're doing in relation to the vans that you now have and the environment and things like that. So we're going to jump to our sponsor, and then after the break we'll come back and speak about that.
This podcast episode was produced by your video team and recorded right here at YVT Studios. We're a full-service content studio helping coaches, creators and business owners turn conversations into content that connects. Need a professional space to film your podcast? We've got it. Want someone to handle the filming, editing and strategy? That's what we do best. Looking to walk away with months of high-quality video content, all filmed in one day? Book a VIP content day. Whether you're hands-on or hands-off, we'll guide you through the process, keeping it simple, stress-free, and seriously effective. It starts with a conversation. We turn that conversation into content, and that content builds your brand. Your video team, making you the hero of your brand.
Welcome back. Alex is still here with me from Clutter-B-Gone. Before the break, we sort of alluded to this growth and how now you're travelling the country. But something that's also happened is, again, with this helping the environment, you've completely changed your fleet of vans.
Yeah, we have. I mean, every company out there has a responsibility with net zero to, and there are obligations to help the environment. And, we're no different, but I'm very conscious of that. We take an awful lot of waste from people's houses, and I guess it started with that. And it was like, well, okay, we're taking a lot of waste from people's houses and it's going down landfill, but actually, could we be recycling more? Could we be donating stuff to charity? Because a lot of the things, with hoarding houses, a lot of things that residents are happy for us to take, there's still a lot of life in them.
Yeah.
And I think it's such a waste for it to go down landfill when actually somebody else could benefit from it. So I guess it started there, and we put some systems and processes in place whereby we don't just come away from a project now and it's all going straight down landfill. It's taken to a central location, and then we're almost organising the waste into waste, donate, recycle, and then obviously the stuff that can be recycled, great, that's helping the environment. Stuff that can be donated, fantastic, that's helping other people out there who maybe aren't as fortunate and don't have a lot, and that stuff can really benefit them. And then there is an element of stuff that has to go to landfill, of course there is. And it started from there, and I thought, well, what other initiatives can we put in to really help the environment? And then I got some advice because I do have a business mentor, and I got the advice of, well, you really should have a carbon reduction plan, and that's really where it started. I put together this carbon reduction plan, which is longer than my actual business plan. It's about 29 pages, I think, and it's on the website for anybody that wants to read it. But that's where I really started thinking, well, hang on a minute, I've read this, and we have responsibilities here to the environment. And one of the biggest issues we had was we're using diesel vans. Diesel's not good for the environment, we all know that. And I thought, well, okay, there's a simple solution there. Let's just part X the vans and buy all electric vans. And that's what we've done. We did that in November. We've swapped the fleet to electric, much healthier for the environment. There's real benefits to that. So that is definitely a positive step for the company. One of the other things that we have recently done, we go through an awful lot of black bin bags for obvious reasons.
Yep.
They're not good for the environment. They're not. They're not biodegradable. They're not made from recycling material. So we're in the process. We haven't quite achieved it yet, but we have found a product which is bin bags that is biodegradable, so if it ends up down landfill within 6 months, it's biodegraded.
Wow.
But it's also made from recycling material, which is fantastic. So we're in the process of moving over to that. And the cleaning products that we will use products that are made from recycled material, and it's just a really good initiative to say that we are going green.
Yeah.
Which we want to do because everybody's got a responsibility for the environment, as I've said. So we are going green. We're somewhat a way through achieving our carbon reduction plan now because, like I said, I'm very competitive. If there's something to be done, I want it done yesterday. But I am confident by June or July this year we will be 100% green, and I think that is going to be a massive benefit for the company, but a massive benefit for the environment as well. But something else that I've put in, which I think is really good, is another way of helping the communities. Is I've put in an employer volunteer program. Okay. So sometimes it's not the nicest of environments what my staff deal with. Mm-hmm. It isn't. So I've had to look at ways that we can give back to the community. And ways of helping the community, and there's some really good programs out there where my staff can get involved in community initiatives, and we're doing one on I think it's 6th of February, we're doing one up in Tunbridge where the whole team will go for the day. The company's paying them, but they are basically volunteering for the day, and I'm going along myself as well, and we're going to be basically planting trees.
Amazing.
And I think the long-term objective to that is that it will create kind of more eco environments for birds and wildlife to live in as the plants grow. So we're going off there for the day to and we're all volunteering for the day. Of course, the staff will be paid for it through my company, but there's real benefits to that. One, we're giving back to the community, where we're working with community initiatives. Of course, it's good publicity for the company, of course it is, but it's an opportunity as well for my team to get together. Quite often when we're doing projects, 3 or 4 of the team will be together, but we've never got an opportunity where all of us will be together.
Yeah.
And these volunteering days will be a good opportunity for the team to all be together, catch up, bit of team camaraderie. And I think they can only benefit my company, and of course they're going to benefit the community, because I'm able to give a team of 10 people volunteering for the day. And this is the one in February will be our first time of doing it, because it is a new initiative that I've put in. But I'd like to do maybe 3 or 4 of these a year, and we'll see how it goes.
I think it's amazing because, like you say, is the environments you're working with, and there must be that element sometimes of like you say, is when you're watching how much is being thrown into landfill, you think, oh my gosh, like what can we do to give back? So then to have a day that's ultimately a team building day, but they feel like, we might have thrown 50 bags into landfill this week, but we've planted 100 trees together, just outweighs and will likely tip the scales in that favour, that you feel good for what you're doing. So, because again, they're still feeling good in what you've delivered to the person, to the resident, whatever it be in that property, but like that underlying feeling of going, there's 50 bags just gone to landfill, reducing that down to 30 because you've managed to recycle and things like that. It's just all the time you're looking for that positive, and again come back to always looking to help people more as well.
Yeah, and that's it. It's doing the employer volunteer days. They are going to be so different to what my team are used to, because we work inside, whereas I'm really keen that we do something outside to help the environment. If it's to do with animals, even better, because I am an animal lover. And it is so different, but it's nice for them to do something different. It's nice for them to be outside. I'm not sure they'd agree in the winter. When I told them we were doing it in February, they were like, oh, can we move it to August? And I said, well, no, we're going to do a few of these. But the response from the team has been so overwhelmingly positive of, I think this is a great idea. It'd be lovely to catch up with the team, for us all to spend the day together. Yeah. I'm sure we'll have a laugh as we're doing it, which is what it's about. We have to, with some of the environments we work in, it can be quite tough. But we've got a team there. We support each other, we get each other through it. And if we can have a laugh along the way, then everyone, happy days.
Absolutely. So you've spoken about the growth of the business, and obviously future wise that you're looking to grow. How is having the awards and going net green and all of those things, how is that helping your growth?
Well, we've been really fortunate where we're obviously working with a lot of companies now, 15, 16 last time I counted, and we're getting referrals from these companies because of the relationships that we've built with them. But actually, that's not the way it's normally done. It's normally done through tender processes, through dynamic purchasing systems, through frameworks. And that's the world we're starting to enter now. And we're starting to join frameworks. We're starting to join DPS systems, and we've started tendering for bids. We've for contracts. We've done a couple. We're waiting to hear. And going green is something that companies look for when they're looking for a supplier. They're going, well, what are you doing to help the environment? Because they also have obligations. So going green is a positive for the environment, it's a positive for the company, but it's a positive when we're trying to achieve the growth, because we can legitimately say, well, we're green, we have electric vehicles, we're using recycled products. And that is a massive bonus when buyers are looking for a supplier to deliver services like we deliver, and you know, with the waste as well, to say that we have a central hub where everything's taken and then it's all organised, that's a massive benefit, because we're saying, you know, we're recycling, we're donating. The only thing I haven't managed to achieve yet, which is a work in progress, is how much of each you know, ton of waste or whatever we are recycling and how much we're donating. I haven't quite figured out how to get to those percentages yet, but I would love to be able to say, from this ton of waste we've recycled 66%, because that legitimately shows that it's being done. But that's something for the future. So going green just benefits everybody, but it will benefit the growth of the company, because we will be looked upon favourably, and I know that. In relation to the awards, I mean, it's amazing to win the awards, and you know, we've got it on our social media, on our website, that we're multi-award winning, and people read that. They know from that we are trusted, the services we deliver are top quality, and it can only be a good thing that if we're winning awards, we're doing something right. That's my motto, and that's, you know, we go into any presentation now, well, we're multi-award winning, so we're doing something right. You don't win awards if you're not getting it right.
Absolutely not. So,
again, it just benefits everybody, because it shows trust and confidence, and the services we're delivering are top notch.
And is that it now? You've won these ones and you're stopping? Or are we looking for any other awards we can go
Any
for?
other awards? Yeah, there's a couple of award ceremonies coming up. We're waiting to hear whether we've been shortlisted in them as well. But you know, the more awards the better, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, like you say as well, is there is celebrating what you do, and I think a lot of businesses forget to celebrate themselves. They celebrate their wins of like, look what we've done over here for this person, and look how what we provided has done. But actually, we're always celebrating the outcome for that other person. But having an award or being a finalist like this is actually you going, we did that for us, like we have done that.
Yeah, I mean, it's validation of all the hard work that goes in. You know, I sit here today, but actually there's a team of people that support me. I can't do it all. I'm one person, and there are only so many hours in a day. I have an amazing team behind me, not just the organisers that are out there on the ground doing the work, but you know, the business development manager I have is phenomenal, and I have other support around me as well. So you know, the award, getting the awards, it's validation that, and it's recognition, I guess, of just all the hard work that goes in, because anybody that has started a company will know the effort that goes into getting the company off the ground, the sacrifices you have to make, and you don't start really seeing the benefits until you're about 3 years down the line. Okay, we've started seeing benefits very early because of the growth that we've had, and we have had massive growth. But it's, you know, when I look at the awards, okay, yes, it is lovely to win, but I look at it and I think, you know what, that's recognition of all the hard work that me and my team have put in over the last 3 years.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, the ones you've got are best startup. Like, that in itself is a lot of businesses. We talk about scary percentages of the amount of businesses that fail in their first year or first 3 years, and you're here as an award-winning best startup. But then throw on that, and you have got an amazing team behind you. The other award you won was Woman of the Year. Did you put yourself forward for that, or were you thrown forward for that one?
My wife put me forward for Businesswoman of the Year, and she told me she'd done it, and I just thought, okay, I don't see what I'm doing is exceptional. I just see it that I want to help people, and I've got a company that can. Yes, it's hard work, but I love what I do. I don't even see it as work, to be honest. But yeah, she put me forward for that one. I nominated the company for Best Startup because, you know, I recognise we have had massive growth. I see the difference we're making, and I want that recognition for the team and the work that they do. And, you know, we were fortunate enough to win both on the night. And, you know, I mean, to win Businesswoman of the Year, I remember speaking to you after I won the award, but I I can't remember anything I said. I think I'd gone into shock.
It was hard to get many words out of you because you just stood there like, what have I...
Yeah, I was just so... I mean, I'd seen some of the other finalists, and then we were obviously all on stage, and I just was not expecting to win. There were some real solid candidates up there who'd been, you know, around a lot longer, more established. And even when my name was read out, I remember thinking, oh, well done to that person. And I was thinking, well, hang on a minute.
You've got the same name as me.
Yeah, and I turned to the woman on the left of me and I said, oh, when they'd read out my name as the winner, and I went, oh, congratulations, because I was really expecting her to win. And she said to me, I don't know why you're congratulating me, I've just lost to you. And we had a bit of a laugh about it, but I was in such shock. But I didn't really have time to process it, because I went off the stage and then they read out the nominations for Best New Startup straight after. So I was still in the process of having the photos done, and I had to kind of run back up on stage, still awards in hand. And then we won that one as well, and it was like, oh my God, this is just information overload. I cannot get my head around this. And yeah, I mean, it was such a great award night, not just because we won, but that awards ceremony will always be special to me because it's the first one we attended. Yes, we won the double awards, but it was such a new world for us. You know, it was the first one we'd gone to. We didn't know what to expect, and it was amazing. It was amazing to hear about all the other companies with the VTs and what they can do.
Yeah.
And it will always be special, that award ceremony, because we'll never have that feeling again, because we've been to I've since been to another award ceremony, and that was amazing as well, but it wasn't the first one. I knew a little bit more what to expect, a little bit more experience, and I'm sure it'll go if we go to any more in the future, but that one will always be special to me.
That's so amazing to hear, and truly deserved, and as well, and like you say, it is really difficult, and I would never ever take on the role of being a judge. When I hear all of your stories and, like you say, listening to the VTs and getting to meet everyone when they come through the studio, I'm like, oh gosh, I couldn't pick one. Because I suppose full circle, when running a business, everyone's on a different journey. Mm-hmm. And as much as paths cross and there are alignments, ultimately you are doing this for you, and then for your passion of helping everybody else, and people are doing it for their own reasons. So to have that is incredible. Yeah,
I mean, every business at that award ceremony is worthy to win.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be there otherwise. They wouldn't have been shortlisted, because, you know, you take all the companies that have been shortlisted, but then behind that there are probably hundreds of other companies that haven't been shortlisted. So to even get to that stage is phenomenal.
Absolutely.
But to just listen to, you know, the VTs, to meet the people we did on the night and listen to their journeys, it's really quite amazing just what people out there are achieving. And like you say, everybody's journey is different. Of course it is, but it's one of the exciting things about running a business is who you meet, listening to their journey, listening to how they started their company, and, you know, you get a lot of advice, and a lot of it is really invaluable. And I know we've met with some of the award winners on the night, or some of the finalists, and, you know, we're sharing little bits of advice around what's worked for us, what's worked for them, and we will happily take any advice, because nobody in my company comes from a business background. Most of us are public service, so we need to look to those with more experience, and that's what we do. It's and it's great that businesses can help each other. I think that's such a it's so good that the businesses can help each other, and, you know, of course there's always a little bit of competitiveness,
and not an environment you would normally walk into. Like you say, is you're now sat in a room of award finalists who are clearly top of their game, because, you know, that, I think your room was filled with 250 different people, different businesses, things like that.
How many it was?
Yeah, you had about 250, and then the Ashford and Canterbury ones, that was 400. Like,
wow.
They're not, and these are finalists, these are top of their game. So to be in that room, you deserve to be there, but you're also crossing those paths and getting that advice, like you say.
Yeah, thank you.
So what is next? I feel like there's so much.
What is next? We have long and short-term goals that we want to achieve this year. You know, one of the, of course, we want to continue growing. We want to expand across the southeast and London into other areas, and we've started doing a lot of work in the Midlands now with one of the housing associations that we work with. So yeah, we're going to continue to grow. And with growth comes an expansion of staff, an expansion of the fleet. That will naturally come with the growth. Smaller kind of goals we want to achieve. We're going down the ISO accreditations. We want to do ISO. We want to do a couple of them because that shows transparency and quality in relation to the services we're doing and the environmental initiatives. So that's project is starting next week. That's probably going to take 6 months or so to achieve them. But I think the biggest objective this year is to probably really expand the tenders and go down the tender routes and the frameworks, because that will future-proof the company for guaranteed work. So yeah, there's big plans coming this year. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
I don't doubt it for a second, Alex. I definitely think it's coming. It's been really lovely to talk to you. I don't think this will be the first and last time that you'll be on here. I believe that you'll be back, hopefully next year, if not before then, to go, we did it, we're at this level now, we've reached
lovely.
These goals. So thank you so much for joining us, and obviously we're going to get all your details, put them in the show notes and the descriptions below, so you can reach out to Alex and the team at Clutter-B-Gone if you are in need and need that support and service, or you're a housing association or business that again needs that support, and Clutter-B-Gone are the team for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
If you've enjoyed this episode and you're a Kent-based business owner with a story to share, we'd love to hear from you. You can find out how to be a guest on the Kent Business Show using the link below. Be seen, be heard, be unforgettable.